Hello, I'm Ted Lederer of the Elliott Lewis Gallery in Vancouver, and I'm with...
Deborah McDonald, and we're here for It's All About Art.
And today we are going to talk to a TV producer and a sculptor who've teamed together to produce something quite extraordinary. Cyrus Yavna.
How do you do?
And Marianne Liu.
Hi.
So, there's a concept behind what we're doing. And Cyrus, you want to tell us a little bit about the concept?
The whole thing started out where I am a natural doodler. And a doodle, the way I do it is I'm just at a meeting or walking around or just scratching on a piece of paper, and out comes something like this. And I started just collecting them and putting them in baggies, and I became doodle bags.
What doodle bags? When did you start doing this, Cyrus?
I've always doodled. But then about 8 years ago, I decided, why don't I take some of these doodles and make a collage out of it? Okay. And that's what I did. There's 12 of them.
So did you go into your doodle bags and at random put doodles together on the same page, or did you have some intention?
Basically at random, and then once I filled up the page, I said, okay, that was good. The only thing I did do is rearrange the shapes that was pleasing to me. And as I put it together, I would write a text. This text doesn't necessarily relate to what the collage is because I would write whatever I was feeling at the time. It kind of inspired myself. When I met Marianne, and Marianne saw them, Marianne said, these would make great sculpture. I said, great. Well, whatever her process is as a fine art sculptor really took off.
So this is the beginning. I mean, this is the concept.
This is the genesis.
The doodles go into the bag,
Right.
They come out, they become Doodle Does It, the book.
Right.
You're now hooked up with Marianne, and here we are in Marianne's studio. We're just surrounded with this absolutely marvelous work. You've brought Cyrus's doodles to life. You've taken something so accessible to the average person and turned it into fine art. So maybe you could just talk to us a little bit about your roots in the fine art community and your sculpture roots.
I went through 8 years of art school. First, Langara, got fine arts diploma. Then I went to UBC, and then I went to Emily Carr, and before and after I went to the Banff Center. My major has always been in sculpture. My formal education is with realistic figurative work. That basis is really important for me, is the classical education is really, really important.
What's the largest sculpture that you've ever done?
In terms of importance, I would say the biggest one that I've done is for the federal government, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier for Ottawa.
When was that?
That was 2000.
No, this is after your time with Jack Harmon.
When I won the commission to sculpt Carl the Doorman, that's when I started working for Jack. So he was my teacher and my boss for a period of time, and I learned so much about bronze from him.
We should talk to Marianne a little bit about the actual sculptures.
This is the most recent doodle that you're working on. So maybe you could explain to us the process.
I will melt pieces of wax to whatever thickness I want. I'll cut shapes out, and I know that bronze reads texture really well. So if you use a brush in a certain way, depending on the temperature, you control how much texture and what kind of texture you build. And I'm also trying to capture the feel of Cyrus's doodles, because when he makes these doodles, it's not just a one line.
So from here, now where do we go?
From here, I take it to the foundry.
So you're not making a mold other than this. These are one-offs.
These are one-offs, and that's it. There's no mold. My approach in this series is that the doodles allow me so much freedom. There's some sort of movement in that big brain of Cyrus's that filters through, and it comes through in the doodles, and it allows me to be able to tap into my own subconscious. There's so many possibilities because it comes from freedom.
It's also just a doodle.
Yeah, it's light, it's fun, it's carefree.
It's from the subconscious, isn't it?
It's from the subconscious. And so I say to myself, okay, just forget about all that brain stuff and just let it happen. And then it comes.
Now, hang on a minute. We'll find you something. For instance, here, this one is that one. See? what happens is Marianne will do a few pieces, and they're usually in the back of her car. And she says, come downstairs and look. And then we put a piece like this on the back of her car in the middle of traffic, and it takes over. It commands the space, and it creates so much movement and joy, and whatever feeling it evokes feeling, and the feelings change, but nevertheless they're very profound, and there's so much poetry to it. And you take something as simple as this, and again, in and of itself, it just
It's magic.
takes the space. So when you think of the doodles, are 2-3 inches when I do them, 4 inches, and then they turn out to be this wonderful.
It's a great thing to be able to take a doodle and to take it to its opposite, which is bronze.
Now, you don't just work in bronze. Obviously, you have a large vocabulary in terms of the media you use, but there's this wonderful piece here that's just makes you want to smile. Who is this?
That's Big Happy.
Big Happy.
Out of this is happy. This is over an inch of happy becomes
A four
that.
Right
foot.
So there you have it in a nutshell.
I sculpted it in foam and then had it covered with fiberglass, and then I had an automotive spray company do
Really?
the spray paint.
When you see each one individually, it just takes such command of the space. It gives you a tremendous feeling. And I think people, when they see that, will enjoy these and make these shapes and feelings personal to them. And that's the whole point of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I really believe that. And I also think that people will connect with their own doodles, and that they, the things that they do and discard has some intrinsic value to their spirit. And then when they see what happens with it, where Marianne took something that starts out this big and makes something like any of these things, some sort of natural awareness or enlightenment, there's some kind of a joy that I hope people will feel from all of this. That's what it's about. It's been fun.
So thank you for joining us today. I'm Ted Leder, and I've been here with Devorah McDonald, and we've been interviewing and speaking with Marianne Liu, sculptor, and Cyrus Yavna, doodle maker and TV producer. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Bye for now.